Last time on Square Roots. Live from the Poisonat Quarantine headquarters, it's Square Roots. Yes, your faithful friends who stay 6 feet away. A digital vacation from your social isolation. Those kooky kids who won't give you COVIDs. It's time for the Square Roots podcast.
Yay! Yay!
Everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I am joined by Matthew Van Zant.
Heyo.
John Dio. I'm going to do that joke again. Brandon.
My name is Dio. I wear a Speedo in the sand.
And the one and only Vanessa.
Hello.
Hey, this is our second go-around at this episode. We
What's
had
that, Jim?
some, or I guess I had some technical snafus.
Jim submitted, like, you know, as one submits to a teacher their assignment, this file. Look, Professor, I have completed the assignment, and he gives it in. And what was this file you submitted, Jim?
It was a 2-hour track of nothing.
Yep. Old-fashioned nothing at all.
But this time I've got audio. You're going to be able to hear all my sweet jokes.
Yeah,
all
let's give them a taste of
Final
the jokes
Fantasy
we're
VII.
going to tell again and try and make sound fresh. Here's what you got to look at. We're going to talk about, did Sephiroth do this? We're going to talk about, we're going to rate some summons.
Jim's going to call me horny for a summon. Guess which one?
Well, guys, before we get into everything we've already done, why don't we talk once again about how we leveled up?
Let's keep it short this time because we all already know.
Yeah. I bet, although I don't remember anybody else's level up, so.
I got a fresh one.
Ooh.
Do it.
I got a fresh one. I'm not going to lay down the same level up as the other recording. I just saw a movie called Crawl. Have you heard about Crawl?
That's the alligator one?
It's the alligator one.
Is it good?
I rented it for $1 on Amazon Prime. Yeah, it's pretty good. Little horror movie, you know?
I'm going to watch it.
It's a lot of fun. It's really cheesy, and it stars a woman who plays a University of Florida gator swimmer swimming away from alligators a bunch. But it has Barry Pepper.
Love Barry Pepper.
Yeah. Who doesn't love the pep?
Of Battlefield Earth fame.
Barry Peppercorn was one of the lawyers from Arrested Development, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Did he have a lot of pep in his step?
Yes.
That's a Henry Winkler character, right?
I think.
Anyway.
Was that Barry Peppercorn? I think it was.
Yeah.
Cool. So
check that out.
Hey, I saw a movie called Crawl. It was pretty good. Rent it for $1 on Amazon. I also watched a movie called Upgrade. That shit was awesome.
Upgrade rules.
It was not what I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be like a kind of gritty action movie, like a hardcore action, punch 'em up. And it's more of like a weird sci-fi movie, like Looper or Gattaca, like just kind of a nice, fun, self-contained, weird sci-fi concept movie. Definitely worth seeing.
And it's like super violent to the point of where the action scenes are almost like body horror scenes a little bit.
I mean, a little bit. I mean, of the two movies I watched, Crawl and Upgrade, I don't know which one had more like exposed fucking bones and cut open muscles and shit. There was some brutal stuff in both of those fucking movies.
Oh, boy.
That's what I watch when my kids aren't home. Well, that's it for me. How about Vanessa?
Huh?
How did you level up? Vanessa's also giving us a fresh level up because she's going to talk about a game that she's been playing lately.
Thank you.
No one speaks Simlish, Vanessa.
It's not Simlish, it's Animalish.
Oh, same diff.
What do we want to call it? Animal babble?
Animal
Cutie
babble?
talk?
Oh.
I
Squeaky
think they
boops?
do call it Animalese.
Animalese. I've been playing Animal Crossing.
Wow, wow, wow.
Like everyone else.
You will notice that there are some words that come through, and if you slow it down, it's more understandable. There's a whole Polygon video about this.
Oh yeah, I saw that was released. I have not had a chance to watch it yet because I have been playing Animal Crossing. It's great. You can go outside. You can make friends. You can visit different people's islands. I visited Johnny's island.
You did.
I showed him my bug. He made fun of it, so I did chase him with my axe.
What did Stan do that prompted you to try and murder him with an axe?
He was just being Stan.
Okay.
I'm excited for Matt and Jim to get it eventually so I can chase them with my axe. I love my village. I'm working hard to make it pretty and pleasant. I didn't like my animal companions at first. I'm very particular. I like natural colored animals, and I have a blue deer and a sort of yellowy bear, but I'm learning to love them. The deer told me that he was patrolling, and I appreciated that. He has a use, and the bear is kind.
So status report, do you have a ladder yet?
I did get a letter. Actually, Stan gave it to me.
Oh.
Got a letter from Stan?
Or someone else.
A
Is
ladder.
that why you tried to murder him?
Ladder.
A ladder.
A ladder. A friend gave me a ladder. Johnny gave me a stick. And a shovel.
Wow, thanks, John.
It was a very useful pole.
He gave me his useful pole,
Hey.
and I took it. I
you
have
talking
my museum under construction. I upgraded the shop. I have 3 new residents coming to live on the island.
I
tomorrow.
got 3 at the same time, and that's a mistake because now I have to
Yes.
decorate their whole damn house. Three of them. I have to
It
go.
took hours.
You know how many islands I'm going to have to clear cut to do this? So many islands.
Well, I got 3 at the same time as well, and I managed to do it in a couple hours. So get good and get on my level.
Wow. Well, my shop's already finished and my museum's already finished. I have a nice big museum. I had like stacks of stuff waiting outside to donate.
Yeah, I have a pile as well. Did you use the time skip cheat?
No, I don't cheat.
Good. I've seen people out there using time skip, and they're like, come to my island. I already have completed this and this and this and this and this. And I'm like, that is not the point of the game.
No. It's to get enough Nook points to get tickets to these small islands that you clear cut and salvage for resources. And then maybe invite one of the residents of this island you destroy over to yours.
Yeah, it's sort of a cutesy colonialism.
Yep.
Ooh.
But I like to think of it more as making a reserve for animals to live out their lives happily. Jim, how did you level up?
So I spent most of this past Saturday watching a new docuseries on Netflix called The Tiger King.
What?
And it's about a man in Oklahoma who has acquired a lot of big cats like tigers and lions and operates his own little zoo. And it's about his relationship and feud with this one lady who operates what she calls a big cat rescue, but in Florida, but is also ostensibly the same thing he's doing. And boy, do they hate each other.
I listened to a podcast series about this guy. Joe Exotic, is that his name?
Joe Exotic, that's right.
Yeah.
And man, everybody in this series is fucking terrible. The lady who operates a big cat rescue may or may not have murdered her husband. Joe Exotic is an absolute nightmare of a human being. The guy that he calls his mentor is a guy in, I believe it's South Carolina, who operates his own little preserve and hires a bunch of women that he kind of uses as sex slaves to operate his park. He pays them like $100 a week, makes them change their names, get breast implants, and work like 16-hour days for.
Wow.
And like they don't get to leave it's absolutely insane. All of the people in this documentary series, but it's crazy. Joe Exotic is like has this internet television show where he shoots a dummy of this lady in Florida with guns constantly, like straps dynamite to her and shoots it and explodes. It's absolutely insane, but everyone in the show is horrible. They're all terrible people. They all should go to prison. And Joe Exotic is in prison.
I was going to ask if you were aware of how this resolves, and
yes, yeah, and in fact, the guy who has the little sex utopia place was recently raided by the authorities, so hopefully he's going to jail too, because he's awful.
Yeah, it's a very weird story, and it sort of seems like it's just going to be a story about these weird cat-obsessed people, but it's really not. They're all the most bizarre people.
Like, at one point, this Joe Exotic guy runs for president, and, like, he's made fun of on John Oliver.
Yeah, I remember that. I knew I heard of this motherfucker.
Yeah, and then he runs for governor, and he throws out like condoms with his face on them.
Yeah.
He's just a weirdo.
Just classy. Just a classy individual. Class act.
Yeah. But check it out. It's actually a really good series. The guy who does the documentary really goes to pretty good lengths to like get in front of all these people and get them to talk. He does a really good job. So check it out. It's on Netflix. It's called The Tiger King. And John, how did you level up?
Oh, well, I leveled up by, I saw a film called Booksmart that I thought was pretty fun. I give it a thumbs up. I like the cast a lot. It was, directed by Olivia Wilde. It does have that kind of more modern shows aimed at younger people, music cutting of there's a new song on the soundtrack every 10 seconds that I don't like, but I don't know, it's funny. It's smart. It's about two women who realize, two young women who are graduating high school and realize that they have not given themselves time to be people. They've only been about studying, and it's about them realizing that this has not put them ahead of anyone else and kind of just taken time away from themselves. And it's really interesting, and it's smart and sensitive and funny. I also played a game called Murder by Numbers, which is a lot like Phoenix Wright, but instead of Phoenix Wright solving with cases like law trials, she solves stuff by having her robot companion do P-Cross, which is sort of like Sudoku. Have any of you played a P-Cross?
Never.
It's like
I've never even heard of this concept.
It's basically, it tells you how many dots are in a line, and then you make a picture by doing Sudoku style, figuring out what dots are where. It's pretty fun. And it's enjoyable to solve these puzzles, even if I'm not very good at it. There's definitely a super diverse cast. I mean, it's one of those things where they did it on purpose. Like, you can tell they really wanted to be like, yeah, we're going to have a woman of color who's Egyptian Jewish, and there's going to be a gay man, and there's lots of unabashed gay flirting. It's set in the 1990s, which is interesting, although the fashion choices look more like Love Angel Music Baby era Gwen Stefani than 90s, but that's okay. And there's a big muscle bear who the gay guy is all over. It's pretty funny. And I would say check it out if you like the Phoenix Wright. I also played Phoenix Wright and found Vanessa a new boyfriend.
He did find me a new boyfriend, and he's perfect. He's a combination of two of my major interests, magicians and David Bowie.
Yep. And he, like David Bowie, he's very bisexual. He has face makeup, and he has those lines that head down to his pelvis. You know, those lines that men get if they're like really slim and in good shape.
Oh, the V?
Yeah, he's got
The
that.
arrows of Adonis.
Yes. The,
Yeah. Let's stick with calling them arrows of Adonis.
All right, and that is my level up.
Hey,
Cool.
wow, bonus level up. Jim, tell us about all of those speedruns you've been watching again, because I watched a bunch too.
Oh, right. So, for background noise while I'm working at home, which is definitely an adjustment, I don't do it very much. I've decided to dig into a lot of the AGDQ speed runs, particularly the really long, like RPG ones. So I've seen Final Fantasy 6, 7, 8, 9, watching 10. I've also watched the 2016 Doom one, which is really entertaining. But they're great. They are the perfect kind of background noise to have on, and they're fun, just fun to watch. We'll post some stuff up in the Facebook group about it. We'll throw up some links, but they're great.
Yeah, I watched Final Fantasy 9, and I'm about halfway through Final Fantasy 10, and you know what? They're super fun. And when I got bored, I watched some quick speed runs of some classic games, and that was fun. Battletoads was crazy, y'all, and I watched a little Nintendo robot play Super Mario Bros. 3 in like 15 minutes, and it blew my mind.
That's awesome. I watched a Resident Evil 7 speedrun by the streamer that I plugged here on the last episode. His name's Carcinogen, and he's super funny and charming. I think he fits the criteria of a Vanessa floppy-haired boy. I almost sent a picture of him to the Scoots chat today. I'll do that later. But he's great. And I find most of the people who are doing like the couch commentary or playing the game to be really affable and charming, and that's what makes these speedruns really fun to watch.
All right.
Cool.
I found
I don't know that we really teed this up very well, but we're playing Final Fantasy VII.
Hey, you know what else we're playing, actually, which we need to do again? Hey, everyone. We have a big vote going on the Patreon.
Oh, shoot.
We should talk about that now instead of at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've opened up the next Square Roots mainline game for our listeners to vote on. We have in the list Final Fantasy X-2, Kingdom Hearts 2, Final Fantasy Tactics, and Trials of Mana. So far, 10-2 is in the lead, but if you would like to cast your vote and have your voice heard, you can do so by becoming a $5 patron at patreon.com/Square Roots Podcast.
Final Fantasy Tactics is really nipping at Final Fantasy X-2's heels, too. So if you're a Final Fantasy Tactics fan, you should jump in and throw out a vote. Kingdom Hearts 2 and Trials of Mana are dead. They're dead.
Or, if you would like to hear an entertaining podcast that everyone will love, vote for Final Fantasy X too.
Yeah.
I've already started that game, so I hope it wins.
That's what you get for finishing early.
I did watch a Kingdom Hearts 2 speedrun as well, and it's pretty great.
I might watch. That's on my list as well. After 10, I might do 12. I might do Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Hey, you can check us out at patreon.com/Square Roots Podcast for all your sweet Patreon voting, and also bonus episodes like our great upcoming Man of Medan episode.
Probably.
That'll be fun.
We're all gonna be on.
Maybe I'll stream that this week.
Yeah, if you're
idea.
streaming that, I can play with you.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've talked enough. How about we talk about our favorite game in the history of JRPGs, Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII,
game,
great or greatest? Jim.
I won't say greatest. I'll say great. I will also say that in this episode, this episode's full of a lot of things that aren't really main plot relevant. but we're going to talk about him anyway.
You certainly do learn a lot about side characters.
Yeah, this, I feel like it's the fourth time I've said it, but this is the part in every Final Fantasy game where you chase after the antagonist and or a MacGuffin and learn all about everybody's side stories for reasons, because you just happen to stumble across every hometown and every horrible mistake from the past that happens to be coming up right now. It's one of those.
That's definitely next episode, too. There's a big fat MacGuffin in the next one.
Mm-hmm. We get introduced to some zany side characters that don't have a ton of dialogue and aren't super relevant to the actual plot of the game, just like in every Final Fantasy game. You get your first 4 or 5 that are really important. Then after that, everybody else is just kind of like, also, we threw in a Moogle that has a cat driving it in its brain.
I'm so confused by that character. We'll have to we'll talk it out when we get to it.
We got some plot revelations coming, I think, in the next episode about that.
Yeah, some big ones.
I now know more about Ketshi than I ever did.
So
where do we
let's
start off?
open with our arrival at the Gold Saucer.
Ah, fuck. We gotta talk about the Gold Saucer again.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love the Gold Saucer.
Yeah,
I
you
love
do.
theme parks. I've been to more theme parks than any of y'all combined. Fight me
You
on
don't know that? I go to
How
I
do
do
you
theme parks.
know it on that.
You don't know me.
I know you.
I used to live at Six Flags Over Texas as a child. I didn't
That's
live there,
one.
but I definitely went like once or twice a year.
That's one theme park.
I've been to
Oh, you've
Disney.
definitely been to more theme parks, like more unique theme parks.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I was
Been to
saying.
Busch Gardens.
All right.
These are all unique.
That's 2.
He lives in Florida.
I
He
know.
lives in Florida, but he's never been to Disney World.
I have been to Disney World.
Well-
You fool.
Then I guess you
Who
have.
has egg on their face now, Vanessa? And where did
You
you,
know
get
what?
that egg? And why did you smack
Not
it
me.
into your forehead like that? That was really silly.
Because I've been to Disney World. I've been to Disneyland. I've been to Disneyland Paris.
I didn't find Disney World that great, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not a child.
Have you been to Harry
So-
Potter World?
No,
Yeah.
I have not been to Harry Potter World. I really want to go.
I'd love to go to Universal Studios.
Yeah, me too.
Go to Simpsons Land or whatever.
Let's go, guys.
Let's
Wait,
do
we
it.
can't. Ha ha ha. We can't go anywhere or to any theme parks for a while. But we can go to the Golden Saucer.
The next best thing.
Now, this area kind of gives me a headache with the music and the colors.
I mean, it's so fucking confusing. Even when you understand the travel system around the Gold Saucer, it is a nightmare on the eyes. The characters don't move very well in this game, particularly when you're always running at 3 times speed. And so I have a tendency to go in and out of the wrong doors all the time.
Golden Saucer is wonderful, and it's the best part of this game. You take a beautiful sky train up from this abandoned, terrible village
Yeah,
to the
it's really
wonderful
strange.
world of the Golden Saucer. You arrive at the station. There is a person dressed as a chocobo to greet you. There's a nice lady.
You get there's a door that's shaped like a giant Moogle head.
And you
Yeah.
emerge
Can I-
from the Moogle head.
Can I say one thing that if Carell would maybe charge
Steve Carell?
5 gil per person to ride this gondola, they could revamp their town. The fact that this is free, it's not very good economics. I appreciate it being free, but a few shekels to ride, they could really make some improvements to their town.
Isn't that like the relationship between Anaheim and Disney?
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
Carell controls the Sky Train. And it's very much like a casino, like a mega casino. They have the moving walkway going into the casino, but not one going out. So it's like very easy to go inside, very hard to leave.
Yeah, super hard to walk out on your own 2 feet instead of on the moving sidewalk.
It is. You get tired, and then you're like, maybe I'll just stay here.
There's a slot
place
machine.
It
There's some pennies.
assaults all of your senses to the point where you lose all sense of place.
Place and time. By the way, Mega Casino, another place you cannot go right now.
So, Barrett gets real upset because he's like, what are you doing? We're not here to have fun. And everyone's like, I want to go have fun. Yuffie wants to have fun. Tifa wants to have fun. Eris wants to have fun.
Yeah, they do.
Should probably let Eris have a little fun right now because,
Why?
Oh,
Why?
no reason. No.
She can have fun when the adventure's over, John. That's not what this is about. Once Sephiroth is stopped, then we can go back and she can have so much fun.
Yeah,
That's
at
a
this
great
point,
idea.
I think we've all got her final limit, right? Because we all know that
I'm
really
almost there.
she's going to
worth
stick
it.
around.
So
I'm going to give you a lot of
he
use out of that.
storms off, and leaves you all alone. And then you get to choose who's going to hang out with you. And Vanessa, what are the areas of the Gold Saucer? Because there's like 8,000.
Let me tell you, there is Festival Square, where you can see a live show. There's Wonder
Event.
Square, where you can play arcade games.
Ooh.
There's Battle Square,
Yep. the
where you
Coliseum.
can either observe or participate in one-on-one macho manly battles. There's Speed Square, where you can ride a roller coaster. There's Chocobo Square, where you can race or observe races of chocobos.
Oh, boy.
Whoa.
There's Ghost Square, where you can spend the night in a spooky mansion.
I did do that.
Ghosts.
I love the Spooky Mansion. I think it's one of my favorite things in this game.
And there's Round Square, where you can take a pleasant trolley kind of ride around the park.
When you actually
Oh.
do this on your date, I think it's the best cinematic in the game.
Huh. I don't know. Isn't there an amazing one in this episode with Bugenhagen?
Oh, yeah, that one's pretty good, too.
By the way, you can't just drop a gill here.
No, you have to spend GP, which is the worst.
Yeah, you can pay for your admission ticket in Gill, and you either can buy a one-time entrance or a lifetime pass, although probably you can't afford the lifetime pass at this point. But then once you're inside, you have to earn GP by playing games, and then you can use the GP to buy special unique items.
Like what?
That's a surprise.
Oh. Well, I haven't tried any of the arcade games, and I'm very excited to. Isn't there some
You
kind
should
of like
play the
boxing
Moogle one.
I love the Moogle arcade game.
Ooh,
It's,
well, we'll discuss that at the end, I think.
All right, in your
Right,
corner.
right.
Yeah.
All right, I can wait. I can
Yeah.
wait. I can wait.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So we meet a very special friend here, don't we?
We sure do. He is so special, and I love him very much. He is a combination of my two favorite things, a magician and David Bowie. No, wait, I mean a Moogle and a cat. It is a big, fat, giant Moogle with a cat riding on top. This cat Moogle combination informs us that it is a machine, and it's a fortune-telling machine. It's like a Zardoz kind of thing. So
Zardoz.
Zardoz?
you know, like Zardoz.
Was it Zoltan?
Zoltan.
Yeah, Zoltan. It's a Zoltan, and it's like put your coin in, and I'll tell your fortune. Or actually, I think it just does it for free. And John, what fortunes does it give us?
The gun is good. The penis is evil. No, wait, that's Zardoz. So, and he says, ask me any question, I'll be able to help you. And you're like, well, where do I find Sephiroth? Because that's, what we're doing. And he's like, okay, here you go. Ordinary luck. It will be an active fortune, given to the goodwill of others, and something big will happen over the summer. And when he's giving the fortune, the Baymax style Moogle like rocks back and forth very mechanically. Are you okay, Vanessa?
I apologize for the interruption. You may have heard a slight scream in the background. I am currently self-quarantining with Vanessa's mom, and I was in the kitchen getting some grapes, and I had my headphones on so I could hear the call while I was doing this. And I got my grapes, and I turned around, and Vanessa's mom was standing in the kitchen with her back to the wall like a Korean ghost, just staring at me. And, of course, I did let out a yelp of surprise, and then she laughed at me.
So this Baymax rocks back and forth, and then tries again, and the second fortune is, be careful of forgetfulness. Your lucky color is blue? Then it's like, okay. Everyone's like, okay, screw this, Ketchy. You suck. You're not good at fortunes. He's like, no, I am good at fortunes. Your third fortune is, what you pursue will be yours, but you will lose something dear.
Oh, no.
Do you think it's the sense of idealism?
I think it's probably Cloud's spiky haircut.
Oh, no.
Oh, that would be sad.
Do you think it's Cloud's ability to walk?
Are you saying that it might be Cloud's haircut, like he might lose his hair at some point in this game?
Yeah.
Like, maybe Sephiroth will cut off his hair with his big sword.
Yeah.
It's an RPG I can get, like, I can relate to, you know? I can get behind that.
Oh, that's true.
Has anybody ever
Matt
played
did
Tales
get
of...
what he pursued, but he lost something dear.
Yeah, my hair. Has anybody ever played Tales of the Abyss, where you have this, like, terrible, super long mullet the whole game, and then in, like, the third disc, your character cuts it off and suddenly doesn't look like a douchebag anymore?
No, I haven't really played that that much of a Tales game, and I'm very excited for this podcast.
It would be great if Cloud cut his hair into a Joe Exotic haircut.
Yeah.
You guys should Google Joe Exotic, because he has the best.
No, hang on. You send pictures to the group like an adult. Don't tell us what to do.
Man, that Joe Exotic story, I did not know some of the stuff that was going to happen listening to that podcast, and man, was it surprising.
Yeah, like the whole dude that comes, the investor who invests just to take Cubs to Las Vegas so that he could have threesomes with his, like, 25-year-old wife.
Nice.
It's all
That's
very
crazy.
weird.
Living the
And
fucking
Joe
dream.
Exotic has, like, multiple spouses, quote unquote.
He has
at any
two
given
husbands.
Time. Mm-hmm.
Two husbands at the same time.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
And, well, I don't want to get into
legally there
what
is.
happens to the husbands, but it ain't good.
Oh.
Man, it is some good melodrama.
Yeah, I had it recommended to me by another friend today, actually, which is funny.
You have another friend? Are you talking about Bannon?
He is talking
Yes.
about
You mean
Bannon.
Matthew, the Netflix recommends album or algorithm does not count as your friend.
Did I tell you that due to the PlayStation being hooked up to the Square Roots YouTube accounts, I get lots of kids video game streamer YouTube accounts, mostly Roblox. But last night I got one, and it was this guy who, like, was doing this thing of, let's see how long it takes to burn through 100 layers of duct tape, except he arranged them in a pride flag thing and didn't comment on it. And this guy's a little hate speech and psychopath named Preston.
I reported that video.
Yeah, if anyone feels like maybe this is some kind of veiled threat that is aimed at children, please go ahead and report that.
If I saw that my kids had watched that, I would be very upset with them and with YouTube. YouTube, bad. Don't let your kids watch YouTube. And here's the thing. We all let our kids watch YouTube. Still.
Yeah, I let my cat watch YouTube.
What's the name of that movie? It's not Buffalo something, but it's got a really weird name. It's about this guy who's writing these sci-fi novels, and it keeps cutting to them, and they're really, like,
Gentleman Broncos.
Yeah,
Gentleman Broncos.
Joe Exotic's hair reminds me a lot of Gentleman Broncos hero.
It is similar, I agree.
So, yeah, this Ketchi's like, okay, I'm sorry that my fortunes kind of suck, but I want to help you out, and I want to follow you to see if I can help them come true and be of use. Which is not the best reason for someone joining your JRPG party, but it's not the worst. I think, like, Go-Go's was worse.
Well, Yuffie came because, like, she tried to rob us, and...
Yeah, but you, like, reverse psychology her. Like, you
she
fuck her
gets,
up.
like...
You
She
neg
gets like
her.
a case of FOMO.
You kind of do.
She gets FOMO.
Yep.
You gotta give her FOMO. You're like, boy, I guess if you're so cool, you might want to come with us, but I don't know, probably not. That shirt would look great on my girlfriend.
Oh, God. You monster.
Matt, have you been reading Pickup Artistry?
Just learning it from you, Vanessa.
I learned it from watching you.
Yep.
So, Ketchi's joining us, and then the next, like, you can go anywhere and try doing anything, but eventually you'll get to the battle square, and when you get there, you find a soldier standing, and everyone's like, uh-oh, a soldier! But then he falls dead. As, like, this seems to happen about...
This is like the 10th
50,
time.
Yeah, this is not the first time this has happened. So no one's super shocked by that, but they run up the stairs, and then inside the battle arena Toshinden, they find everybody super dead. Except for one lady up in the top right.
Yeah, it got real murdery up in there.
What does she tell you, Vanessa?
She tells you that Sephiroth did it.
No.
Wait, she
No.
doesn't.
She says a man with a gun for an arm did it.
What we did
What?
ask, as soon as you walk in, Cloud does ask, did Sephiroth do this?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
it's just like on the ship when all of the people are dead and they're like, was it Sephiroth? And just to reiterate, there's no reason to believe that Sephiroth is on the golden saucer. Like, we just kind of went there.
Yeah.
Like, is this how Cloud is going to solve crimes? Is this going to be the rest of the game? Just him going to, like, grisly murders and, like, destruction and, you know, scenes of horror and being like, hang on. Did Sephiroth do this?
Now, in the last episode, the one that Jim deleted, we did suggest that it would be fun to make memes of different disasters, like not fatal disasters, not like real sad disasters, but
Not 9/11.
Dumb disasters.
That conversation got kind of dark. I think one of you did suggest 9/11.
You suggested 9/11.
No, I would never. I saw someone on Twitter recently, like, harassing a baseball player, like maybe Jose Canseco or somebody, and he, like, was comparing him to these horrible tragedies, and I don't know why. It was just someone fucking with this baseball player, but the baseball player kept responding, and the guy posted a video of the baseball player, like, hitting a home run, but then superimposed the Twin Towers falling behind it.
no. Okay, but
It was
really
dark. Like, it was
You know
really
what would-
dark.
You know what would be great is if
I
you
shouldn't go on
posted
Twitter.
some select tweets from the band Trap's meltdown this
fuck
past
yes.
week, and
Did
then
Sephiroth do
did
this?
Sephiroth do this over
Yes.
it? That would be a good
God.
one.
Holy shit. Fucking no name, no talent band Trapped.
So who went on like a
excuse me,
6-day
if they're
Twitter
no
meltdown?
name, then why do they have 2 million Spotify listens and Trump is going to save America?
Oh,
Yeah, they
speaking
just
of,
like lost their minds. I know we're all stressed out right now. Like, it's a very scary and uncertain time, but Trapped is not who we need to hear from.
But it's not like they just threw a hissy fit. They, like, revealed themselves to be, like, fucking dirty racists and, like, deeply troubling politics that essentially amount to fascism is good as long as it benefits me. So, fuck Trapped.
I'm glad that America could come together to collectively dunk on the band Trapped.
Yeah.
hey Jim,
And yeah,
speaking of new metal, I came to a discovery well, it's not a discovery I had last week, but I let you know this, and you were disturbed by this. So I feel like we should let the audience know that the world theme speaking of new metal, the world theme when you get outside in Final Fantasy VII sounds a lot like a certain song by one of your favorite bands, Hoobastank.
Oh, yeah,
Hoobastank?
we did talk about this last time. John thinks that the overworld music sounds like the song of The Reason by Hoobastank, which is it's one of my least favorite songs in the world. That and Are You Gonna Be My Girl by Jet are some of the worst songs ever
I'm
written.
not a person after all.
That's good. That's good stuff. Speaking of fucking garbage bands that nobody cares about, here's the real question. What John just did, did Sephiroth do that?
Was ruin a piece of Final Fantasy VII music for our audience.
Did Sephiroth
did
do this?
Sephiroth just ruin that? I can't remember how that song goes, and I refuse to listen to it to find out and have this game ruined for me.
It's all I can think about now when I try to play that song in my head. It's just the intro to The Reason.
I'm not a perfect person.
I can't.
Not a perfect
Final Fantasy VII. Did
person
Sephiroth do
after
this
all.
to my ears?
Yeah.
Vanessa,
So-
what didn't Sephiroth do?
Sephiroth didn't kill these people in the battle arena.
Oh,
It was Barrett.
what?
It seems to be that way because
lady's
we
there.
only know one guy with a gun for an arm.
Yeah, they're like, hey, Gunarm did this. And we're like, shit. This game just got real. We're going to have
darn
to
it.
take on one of our closest friends and companions. He's lost his mind. He's gone on a killing spree, and only we can stop him. The drama.
They
The
did say that
drama.
we would lose something dear. Could it be a friend?
Yeah. Ooh, boy. Is Barrett a dear friend?
Yeah.
He's more like a shouty man that won't stop following me around.
You
His
know who's a
arms.
dear friend? Bam, who lives on my island in Animal Crossing.
Is that
He's
Bam
named
Margera?
after
Margera?
Bambi.
CKY?
CKY? You know what I did today, guys? Actually, Bam Margera, I watched Jackass the Movie 3.
Oh, that's definitely on Amazon Prime. I watched
Yeah.
that like a month ago.
You know what? I mean, other than the really gross stuff that I never liked, all of the really horrible things they do to themselves hold up. Still pretty funny.
Especially
No,
if you're
thank you.
under the influence of the marijuana. It's even funnier.
The mean-spirited stuff where they hurt each other is not
That
as funny
sucks.
as it used to
No.
be, and the gross stuff was never funny. But the crazy stunts that they do, just for no fucking reason, that are really dumb and poorly improvised, those are still pretty fucking entertaining. CKY Jim, that legitimately used to be one of my very favorite things. I had the whole set on DVD.
Oh my god, have you ever rewatched one of the first CKY videos?
CKY2K is on YouTube.
It
and
is
I
it's
saved it
kinda
today because I was like,
edgelordy
I might
bullshit.
watch this.
It's kind of really kind of like edgy.
Oh boy.
It kind of sucks.
God, I used to love it, but I bet it does. I bet it does not hold up.
John.
It did not age well.
Yeah?
That's a
John,
bummer.
they're talking straight man again. I
Well, we're
don't
not.
understand what
Yeah,
they're
we are.
talking about.
I did kind of find Bam's dad attractive.
Really? He's
Yeah, a little bit. He reminds me of someone I
He's-
went on some dates with.
he's gross.
Moving on.
Yes, moving on.
So we, of course, since we're here standing in a pile of bodies, and the justice system of the Gold Saucer is bad, Dio you get surrounded by cops who are like, look what you did. If you're standing next to a body, you must have done all this murdering.
Mhm.
And
Classic.
Ketchi,
See somebody in need of help and flip them over and find out that they've been stabbed and get blood all over your hands, and then somebody walks in and sees you sitting there with the blood all over your hands, and it's like, you're the murderer.
and Ketchi's like, all right, I'm outies, and just bolts. And you decide to run after Ketchi, which is bad because you end up in this big square room with a circle on it. And I believe this is called the Battle Square.
Yeah, it's a square where they do battle.
And but you get cornered by Ed 209s on every side.
Yeah, and they pick you up and dump you into this what do they call it? Gate to heaven?
Yeah, they
Something like that.
Dio
It's not a
wearing
gate
a
to heaven.
Speedo does tell you to take this gateway to heaven.
But instead it's a trapdoor that drops you down into the fucking pit underneath Golden Compass, whatever this place is called, the Golden Saucer.
Golden Compass.
And,
guys, I want to throw out a theory that I definitely threw out last time we recorded this very same episode.
Mm-hmm.
But do you guys think that the prison camp place under the Gold Saucer is actually the original town of Corel?
Now, okay, sell me on this idea. Why do you think that?
So we will find out in a few minutes that the city of Corel was once like a mining city where they mine for coal.
Mm-hmm.
And but it was burned down by the Shinra after they refused to allow a reactor to be built around there. And in the prison, there are lots of what looks like remnants of an old city. So there's like abandoned houses. Everything looks kind of scorched and deserty. And it's my theory that, and if you go inside of these buildings, some of them look like, like the building where Barrett does his big exposition dump.
Mm-hmm.
Looks exactly like the house that they're having their like town meeting in, where Barrett is trying to sell everyone on letting them build the reactor. It's the exact same house, actually.
I guess it would make sense as to why Barrett is looking for the other person in this scenario there.
Yeah. Like, go and compare the houses in Barrett's flashback to the one he does the exposition in. It's the same place.
Okay. We also explain why Coral is such a dump, because it's like a shanty town that was thrown up when they were displaced.
Right.
People were displaced from their homes.
Right.
But the game could have done a good job of letting you know.
Yeah. There is, and lots of like old equipment and trucks and stuff. People are living in sort of half buried stuff. There's like farms that look covered in sand. Now,
very true.
Did Vanessa want to tell us what happened here? Or?
No, I'm done telling what happened.
Okay. I think that means that she started playing Animal Crossing.
I never stopped.
Oh, Vanessa.
Vanessa. But you look so like you're
multitask.
You look so
professional.
Yeah.
You look so professional and trustworthy, and you're sitting there fucking playing video games.
Vanessa has put up a fake picture of her staring intently and listening, dressed a very business professional. But it's fake. It's not a video feed. It's just a still photograph.
Your fake picture looks like a lot of the profile pictures that I get of people trying to sell me stuff on LinkedIn.
Maybe I will sell you something on LinkedIn.
You can try.
What are you going to sell us? Opportunity?
Let's see. What will I sell you? I was thinking that were I an unethical person, now would be the perfect time to be shilling some snake oil of some sort. Like a super antiviral spray or something.
Like a Jude Law.
Like a Jude Law. Yes, I watched Contagion.
Yes.
I did it. A lot of people are saying, hey, don't watch Contagion right about now. And I was like, Contagion, I remember that being a stupid movie. So I did watch it, and it is stupid, but the first third of it or so is very relevant to what's going on now. They use terms like self-quarantined and the RU number. R naught number, yeah.
It's not quite as stupid as the movie Outbreak, starring Morgan Freeman, which is definitely on Netflix.
And a monkey.
About a monkey that spreads a disease in like a Midwestern town. It's so stupid.
I believe it's like coastal California town.
Oh, really? I thought it was like Montana or something.
Are we still fucking talking about the Gold Saucer? Do you guys see how much left we have to talk about?
Yeah, all right.
Let's get through this piece of shit.
So when you fall into the prison, Barrett's like, ugh, why did you follow me here? I don't want to talk. And he storms off in a huff. And I'm like, hey, Barrett, like, you saw we were just dumped from up above and we're in a prison town, right? Like, this isn't by choice. But he doesn't listen. He just walks away.
How did Barrett get here?
That's a good question. The game does not cover. Maybe since he knew that it was Old Coral, he made his way down there. And
maybe they
unfortunately,
already caught him and threw him down.
This is kind of an escape from New York kind of scenario where this is a big old prison. And it's just this. There's no guards. It's just all your prisoners.
Arkham City.
And if you talk to a guy in a truck, Mr. Coates, he explains that the only way out of here is to become a chocobo jockey, and that's only if the big man lets you do so.
The boss.
The boss.
So basically the game at this point is like, hey, let's put some arbitrary stupid shit in your way to get you back to where you started.
This is where I got really confused. Well, this and like the whole Ketchi thing. And I thought I was stupid because I didn't understand what was happening in the game. And now with like a bit more self-confidence and knowledge that it wasn't me. No, the game just makes very little narrative sense at this point.
Yeah, no, it's just nonsense that gets thrown at you thing after thing.
Yeah.
You're chasing Sephiroth, and then you're in a casino, and then you've got a new party member who's the weirdest thing you've ever seen, and then you get dumped into a prison, and you're like, wait, what?
Not only is Ketchi the weirdest thing you've ever seen, but it's so bad. Like, I love the graphics of this game, but he is so badly rendered, you can't really tell what he is. Even in the battle graphics.
Yeah, even in the battle where, like, that's where the characters are best rendered, you can't tell. I didn't know there was a cat on his head until I saw the illustration in the manual.
Yeah. It's real bad. So you follow Barrett into this house, and it looks like in maybe the weirdest thing in the game, it looks like he's about to kill you all, because he like points his gun at you, and we should mention, someone is following you around this, like when you walk around, there's a guy who follows you around going, ha ha ha.
Real ne'er-do-well.
Mm-hmm. He's one of these Utes of the prison. And I guess he snuck after you because Barrett starts shooting and your whole party assumes that he's gonna kill you all, but he does not. He shoots at the couch, and behind the couch, that ne'er-do-well drops dead.
He murders this guy.
He murders this dude. Well,
he straight up kills him.
So, I mean, what's this? Just another death.
And Tifa or someone is like, hey, did you murder all those people upstairs? He's like, no. What? No. Come on.
Yeah, no, I don't murder people. Takes the body.
And then explains, actually, there's a second guy with a gun arm, except, because when I got my gun arm, and then like fade to black.
Oh, God.
You can tell it's younger Barrett because he's wearing a different colored shirt under his vest.
And he has not a gun arm.
Not a gun arm.
Yeah, he has a real arm.
He has a real arm.
With the old game graphics, not noticing he doesn't have a gun arm is a little tricky because it's just like the big Popeye block at the end of his arm is a different color.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's walking home with his friend Dine. They were just checking out the new reactor being built. And then someone runs up and says, guys, the town's on fire. The soldiers came from Shinra. They set the town on fire. And then you get a scene of Dine and Barrett looking over the town super on fire. And a bunch of soldiers show up and they start shooting at Barrett and Dine. But they are terrible shots. They're like stormtrooper style shooters. I guess shooting from the hip, and Barrett's just dancing around the bullets in a really silly animation.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. And then they start running down through the side of the cliff, Dine and Barrett. But Scarlet shows up, grabs a rifle from one of the soldiers, and she's a good shot. So she like takes time to line up and really aim. And meanwhile, Dine is like slipping off a cliff and Barrett is holding him. And so it's Barrett's left hand and Dine's right hand. And, she shoots, I guess she's spraying bullets. So it like shoots both of them and blasts both their arms. And it looks like Dine falls down the cliff to his death, but it's an anime. So this never kills anyone. And
did they get shot, do you think, in the arm? Or do you think that they got their arms like cut off with bullets?
Ooh, like a RoboCop style?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's great.
Yeah. You know, when I talked about Ed 209 before, I was thinking about that conference room scene.
Yes. Is that RoboCop 3?
That's 1.
Or 2?
That's 1.
Wait, 1 is where the Ed 209 shreds everybody?
It just shreds that one guy because they say that he's committing a crime. And
that's in 1?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All my RoboCops run together.
Paul Verhoeven loves his squibs. And, that's also the one where RoboCop, before he becomes RoboCop, gets his arm shot off
Yes, that's also the one where the guy from Red Hot Chili Peppers gets covered in toxic waste and exploded on a car.
No, that's the guy from that 70s show.
No, that's the dad.
No,
The dad is the leader of the criminals in that one.
I thought Red was the one who got turned into a melty man.
No, Red is definitely the leader of the criminals. He makes it till like the last third of the movie.
Okay. I don't know. We'll have to settle this. Listeners, if you remember how Red from that 70s show dies in RoboCop 1, please write in and let us know.
I think it's on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime. So why don't we all just watch it tomorrow?
Group watch.
Yeah.
The bonus episode, RoboCop.
No, thank you.
What?
I said no, thank you.
Oh, that's okay, Vanessa. You don't have to watch
I'll
it.
buy that for $1.
Oh, what a good movie. I love Paul Verhoeven movies.
Me too.
Although I still think Total Recall is my favorite.
Oh, Total Recall's so good.
Isn't Starship Troopers also Paul Verhoeven?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
And
That's-
Showgirls and RoboCop.
Starship Troopers is my favorite. That movie is insane.
That movie's great.
Holds
They're all... Yeah, no, they're all really good. Like, go back
They
and
are
watch
really
Total
good.
Recall. Go back and watch RoboCop. Go back, Vanessa. We're speaking to you very specifically, and go back and watch Showgirls. They're all amazing.
Yeah, okay, yeah, get right on that. Bye.
So anyway, we learn about Dine and how Barrett got his arm taken off. And then he tells us that when he got his gun arm, he heard that somebody else got a gun arm.
Yeah, just the
You know how
doctors
when your
making
surgeon's
conversation.
Like, boy, I just did this yesterday.
Seems like everyone's wanting to get a gun on their arm these days. Isn't that weird? Now, he decides to get a gun on his...
so much demand. I'm going to open a gun arm emporium.
I guess he decides to get revenge because, like,
Come on
Eleanor...
down to the gun arm emporium.
Was Eleanor... Was that Barrett's wife or Dine's wife?
I don't think Barrett had a wife.
Okay. But Eleanor and Marlene were like caught up in this, and so Eleanor died in this whole disaster, and he wants to get revenge. That's why he decides to put a gun on his arm, because he doesn't like his stupid artificial arm. He thought it sucked, so he replaced it with a gun.
Yeah, so he gets a gun on his arm and decides to go after Shinra, and it seems like Dine gets a gun on his arm and just decides to be a asshole?
Decides to be a criminal,
Yeah, like a criminal
murderer,
criminal
who,
head.
like, he could have easily
lord.
left this prison camp at any time, but ostensibly he's been here for what, 10 years,
I don't know
5
that
years?
It's easily. You have to walk through a desert to get out.
But like, he could have gone, like, they made it sound like he can go up to the gold saucer whenever he wants.
Did any of you try to leave? And then you get like picked up by this chocobo carriage.
Yeah, Chocobo carriage, right?
Yeah, if you try to walk out in the desert.
There's
I walked out.
cactuars out there, too.
You're supposed to walk out, right?
No, you don't have to.
I fucked up somehow and walked out, I think. I distinctly remember walking out and being like, wait, what?
And then they
Like out, so you're on the world map.
Yeah, 3 times speed. Got me through real fast.
I couldn't leave. I just got brought back in by a chocobo carriage. So I think someone in town talks about this mysterious chocobo carriage. So you leave, and then if you talk to these jerks, these like 3 guys who all lie to you, they all tell you that the boss is to the southwest, but they're all lying, so he's in the northeast. So you go up to this old abandoned farm, and there's like a bunch of gravestones, and he's there looking real sad. And then Barrett's like, "Hey buddy, how you doing? I wanted to apologize." And he's
How
like,
you holding up? I guess I kind of kidnapped your daughter, since I
he
took her
doesn't
with
mention
me.
that
and
this yet. He's like, "How you doing? I wanted to say I'm sorry." And he's like, "How would I say I'm sorry? By trying to kill you?" And then it's a one-on-one fight between Barrett and Dine.
Yeah. He's like, how about I show you how sorry I am with my gun arm? And Barrett's like, well, I got a gun arm. And then they just kind of, bounce bullets off.
Yeah, they're shooting each other's bullets out of the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect
Unfortunately,
counter. Another gun to a gun arm. A second gun arm.
Yep. You you decide to try and kill him, but you get him pretty wounded, and then he gives up. And that's when Barrett says, "By the way, Marlene,
Smell you later.
super alive. And
He's like, what? But Marlene is my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
What?
And he's like, well, yeah, so come with us and you can meet Marlene again and see how she's doing. He's like, well, she wouldn't even recognize you. It's been like 4 years and she's 5. And then I realized she'd been tending bar as a 5-year-old. That's not right.
Oh my God.
That's not. Tifa, come on.
Jesus, Barrett, both of them.
Yep.
Listen, you only have to pay 5-year-olds in like corn dogs and chicken nuggets.
But he's like, my hands are too stained with blood to carry her. And then I'm like, hey, Dine, you mean hand? And
And he's like, I gotta hand it to you. That was a good one.
And then he claps and you just hear a clanking sound. And then he's like, okay, well, here's a pendant to give to Marlene because I've got somewhere to go and it's the bottom of this cliff. Bye. And he like walks.
And he's like swan dives off this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Reverse
my
swan
friend
dive.
is finally back and my daughter's alive. Guess I'm so happy I could suicide.
He's like, wow, life is not as terrible as I've been led to believe these past 5 years. Better kill myself.
Uh-huh.
Bye.
So I guess it was Dine that killed all those people upstairs and not Barrett. Although they never explicitly say that one way or the other. Oh, maybe Dio does in his letter. So
They don't really explain why he did it, though, do they?
No.
Yeah, also a good question. Why did he randomly go on a killing spree?
I guess he's just a little bonkers. Hey, Matt, he's not a perfect person.
Oh, boy.
Oh, God, I cannot get that song out of my head, by the way.
I don't think I've ever heard that song.
It's not a good song, Vanessa.
It's a real earworm.
Did y'all hear that recent episode of the podcast Reply All, where the guy had a song in his head but couldn't find any evidence of it on the internet?
I heard about it, but I haven't listened to it.
It was so good. So he can't find it anywhere. So what they do is they have him record the song, like from memory, and they bring in studio musicians and things, and then they bring it around to different people, and they're like, "Have you heard this song?" And they take it to like all the Rolling Stone editors who were active in the 90s
amazing.
and things. It's great.
And it was just like, yummy, yummy, yummy. I got love in my tummy.
That's how it goes.
I'm not a perfect
Big
person.
person.
I went to the Rolling Stones, and the Rolling Stones were like, mate, we didn't listen to anything after 1972. They're
We
British,
don't
right?
Listen to new music. Yeah, they're British. Remember, like, the Pirate Man from the Pirate movies is based on Keith Richards?
Who's Keith Richards?
He's Rolling Stones.
I don't give a
He's
shit
like
about
the
Rolling Stones.
guitarist or bassist? One of the two.
Nah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So you then talk to Mr. Coates and they're like, hey, about that Chocobo thing. He's like, well, you got to get the boss's permission. And you've got his pendant and it's covered in blood. So
You're the boss now?
I guess you're the boss, but you need a manager. And in walks a Chocobo Racing manager named Esther. And I love her.
Oh, she's great.
She got a big bow.
Is this it for her for this entire game? Is it just this one short run of scenes that she is around?
Well, if you decide
why did they name this
breed a
character?
gold, if you decide to breed a gold chocobo, she is still your manager.
Oh,
well, that's good. Esther's, she's a fun little side character that I love.
And like, I love how everybody has such reverence for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's the best of the best, but she's so modest.
Why does she agree to be your coach all of a sudden? Is there a reason?
nice.
I don't remember.
Do you think that
murdered
Dio
Dine,
just...
and she's like, yes, thank you.
Oh, like, because like you have his little trinket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so she's like, Dine is the love of my life. I'll do anything for him. Oh, you have his trinket? Cool. I don't
think she was in love with... She's a busy modern woman. She doesn't have time to be in love
That's
with him.
Matthew
You
/ Vic.
You just don't ever bother to tell her that you murdered him.
I think she knows.
No, she's just like, I see something in you. I see potential.
Oh, that's right.
It's my job to recruit athletes. You look athletic.
Like, you're going to come back and breed a gold chocobo.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be here waiting for you when you do to make money off your sweet racing skills.
So she takes you up on the big elevator back to the gold saucer, and you end up in this jockey room, which you have to remember is the only time ever you'll be able to get Rama. And you got to get Rama.
Oh, that's right. You have to get the materia in this like locker room or you'll never get it.
So speaking of Rama, Jim, in Jim's, what was this, summon rating corner? How would you rate Rama?
This is a 4 out of 5 cactuars. And John, let me tell you why.
Okay. I do want to know.
I love summons that alter the landscape of the battle. So like there are summons that will like up or like take you to space. There are summons that will totally upend the ground that an enemy is walking on. This one is similar to that in that there are lightning bolts everywhere. You see Rama come around. It's an entertaining summon. And in this game with the unskippable summon animations, you'd better pick one that you like to watch. And this is one that I like to watch. So I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 cactuars.
Now, in the last episode, we did accidentally rate Ifrit because you had left, and we rated Ifrit as chocobos. So that rating is incorrect. It's the wrong scale. How would you rate
cactuars.
Ifrit?
I would rate Ifrit also 4 out of 5. I think last time when we did this episode, the first time around, I gave it 5. I'm going to say 4.
Okay.
Because this one does get old a little bit because it always cuts to the same close-ups, the same perspectives, and nothing about the battle landscape is altered very much.
Right.
While it is somewhat entertaining, I'll still say 3 out of 5 cactuars.
Okay. Now, have you played Final Fantasy 13 where the summons are different like motorcycles and cars that each of them ride in?
I tried to play Final Fantasy 13 for a couple hours and gave up. I am looking forward to trying it again.
Yeah, I think you'll like, if there's anything you like in that game, I think it's going to be like when Shiva turns into a motorcycle that someone rides.
Are they like Transformers?
Yes, it's amazing.
Oh, that's amazing.
Such a good idea wasted on such a shitty game.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm real disappointed in Jim's new assessment of Ifrit. Ifrit is 10 out of 10. Big,
it's
scary
out of 5
monster.
Cactars.
He make his tooth go snarl. He fire his fireball and kill everyone.
That's okay.
For whatever reason, I'm using my summons a lot, and they aren't doing very much damage. I think whoever I make the summoner, I need to like pump full of magic up. You know, you've been getting these skill jewel things. I need to like make sure my I have a summoner and they're all about summons.
The game really like wants you to do that because every time you equip a materia, sometimes materias have like stat effects where they'll affect some of your base character stats.
Right.
Most of the summon materias decrease your character's max HP by probably at least 10%.
That's why you gotta have that HP plus materia.
Well, you don't get that until a little bit later. So like in the beginning when you first get your summons, you really want to like give them to one person and then set them at the back.
Ah, and I have noticed that even if someone's not in your party, they do seem to get XP, just not as much.
Yeah,
they do, but it's, I believe,
half or something?
There's a formula to it. And also when you get a new person to your party, I can't remember if this is Final Fantasy 7 or 10, but like when you acquire a new person to your party, their level is the average of your current
it's not
party's level.
7 because maybe it is because I got Vincent who was level 34, but at this point Cloud was like level 36. So that
might be. Well, yeah,
I remember
that
them
could
saying
be
that in a speed run about Final Fantasy 9, I think.
That might be 10 though, I think.
Or maybe 10. Anyway, 10 out of 10 Ifrits. What's next?
Anyway. So we do some Chocobo Racing, which we'll describe later. Just Matt, get that Rama. You need that Rama.
I'm well past that.
He's your zappy friend.
Well, what am I supposed to do about it at this point? I'm like 2 chunkers ahead.
Yeah, I missed, there's an attack that you can put into enemy skills, next chunker, and I totally missed, getting it. I destroyed the boss before he even used it, and I was really bummed, because there's like 2 bosses that use it, and that's it.
It's interesting that you all like want to have a summoner. I spread my summons out, and I just fucking hit with them constantly. Like, that's my main strategy. I have like 50 tents. Right. So anytime I see a save point or a get outside, I tent up, but I just rip through my MP because I use...
Sorry, yes. You what?
I tent up, you know you tent up sometimes. John?
You pitch a tent?
Yeah, I pitch a tent for my characters in the wood.
And unfortunately, you can't use tents to give people poison, and that's very sad.
Yeah, that's a real bummer. But anyway, I just blast everything with summons, and it does a pretty good job. Do materia get more AP if you use them in a battle?
They level up, and I think they become more powerful? I don't know. But I want to give it to one summoner so that I have one person who I'm giving all the magic buffs to, so that it's more powerful. Because now, like Aqualung...
I dump all that into Cloud. Cloud is the hard hitter for the group. He does everything good.
But
he does a lot of healing and haste.
I have enemy skills that are doing 13 to 1,500 damage, and that's way better than any of the summons, so I'm just using that. Like Aqualung especially is really good, but I have some other ones. Yeah. I'm about to get the other one from... When do we get to Wutai? Is that next disc?
Wutai.
I think that's after Temple of Ancients.
Let's see. Yeah, you can go before or you can go after. I actually ended up going before, which I think is not the canonical way to do it. But
yeah, I haven't gone there yet, and I'm well past that. But I did see.
I could go there.
I just didn't go. Oh, really? It's just totally optional.
Yeah, you don't have to go there at all. But I will. I think I'm going to try and go because that's the other place you could get this trine attack that is very good for damaging enemies. So there's, you go back, you do the Chocobo Racing, eventually you win. If you keep failing, it makes it easier every time. They give, Esther gives you a better bird every time. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But, yeah, then you get a letter from Dio, and Dio's like, hey, sorry, man, I can't actually be here to tell you this, but we found out that you didn't do the shooting and that you got rid of Dying for us, which is real handy. So, in order to thank you, you signed this agreement that you will not sue us, and then we'll give you the worst buggy in the world.
It's like a little micro machine.
It does look like a micro machine, but it is.
I want to zoom it around.
Like a dollar store micro machine with these horrible stickers on it. Like there's a lightning bolt on each engine, and then there's a star on the hood. It just looks terrible.
How do you see this?
I don't know. I'm playing it on a big TV.
Oh, I never zoomed in on the buggy to see if it was decorated.
I also use the view down on the map, like where you with I think L2 you can change the view. Mm-hmm. So I like the looking down one because it's easier to see where you are. Like it's a more traditional Final Fantasy style map.
Yeah, that one does help, especially as you're zooming around the world map to places that seem, especially when you're on your way to the Cosmo Canyon.
Yeah. At this point, I went and got a bunch of enemy skills. Like I got White Wind, I got Big Guard, which is really useful. It gives you, I think, barrier and shield.
Wall?
Wall and barrier. No, not the reflect wall, though.
No, not reflect, but it's like magic barrier and
a physical attack
barrier. Yeah.
So it does use a lot of MP, but it's for boss fights is incredible. It's really, really useful.
Yeah, Matthew said he got party wiped at a boss fight that we'll talk about next episode, and I was gonna recommend to him that if he was still having trouble, go get Big Guard.
Yeah, Big Guard's just really useful, and it's easy to get. Cause one of the things that Ketchi has, with his, what do you call that, megaphone, is he can use Manipulate, although you can take this materia off him and anyone can use Manipulate. And it's useful because then you can tell enemies to use certain attacks on you that you can then learn as enemy skills.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. That's John's tip corner. If Matt was here, he'd sing, tips that nobody needs. All right, on to Gone Gaga. Because I've gone gaga for this game.
Yay!
Oh! There is a ruined reactor here. But before you even get there, well, you just see that from like outside. It's one of Vanessa's favorite scenes.
Yeah, I love this scene. You show up at this ruined reactor and your pals, the Turks, are there. And they're just hanging out, shooting the breeze. And they're like, so, is there someone special in your life? Like a lady who you like? And the other guy's like, yeah, I really like Tifa. And the guy's like, Tifa? Like the girl we've been trying to kill. You're saying that the person you have a crush on is Tifa, who it's our job to murder. And he's like, yeah, I like Tifa. It's weird.
This is like Rude and Reno. And I think Reno mentions that Sang has a thing for Eris, which is super creepy because he's known Eris since she was a child.
That is weird. Yeah, good call.
Don't do that. If you've known someone since they were a child, they are immediately out of bounds for you romantically. No exceptions.
What if you were also a child?
Okay, then that's fine.
Haha, I found an exception.
Damn it. Wow, Vanessa, you really wanted to strike down this policy, huh?
Well, I'm just saying, maybe I'll marry my childhood sweetheart. It could happen.
That's true. So then you have a fight. Oh, before you get into this fight, Elena comes in and starts like dishing to Cloud. He's like, oh my God, these two are the worst. Aren't they the worst? And Sang is so cute. But, oh shoot, I'm talking to Cloud. Everyone, this is Cloud. We should be fighting him. And, they do. I like Elena. She's fun. And if you win this fight against Reno and Rude, and kill them both at the same time, or knock them out both at the same time, you get special prizes. You get like
what?
A staff. What you're really looking for. One of them has a staff that's really good for Eris.
Oh.
And they knew you were coming. And then Cloud observes, oh, they must have a spy, we must have a spy in our party, because they sure knew that we were coming. And I'm glad there has been no clues yet so far about who this spy might be.
But nobody really cares.
Yeah, they're like, I guess there's a spy in our party. Oh, well. So you get to the big reactor, and Scarlet shows up with Sang, so Cloud and his team hide. And she's like, she starts digging through this materia. She's like, ugh, it's all junk. It's all junk materia from a junk reactor. I am looking for a big, large, huge materia. Vanessa, do you know where we could find big, large, huge materia?
I also am looking for a big, large, huge materia. And I don't know where to find it.
Oh my gosh. Vanessa, people are going to Google you now with such ferocity.
Oh, no.
They already do. Stop Googling me.
If you look up the autocomplete for Square Roots Podcast, Square Roots Podcast Vanessa is the number one.
Listen.
Now it's going to be Square Roots Podcast Vanessa Size Queen.
Damn it.
Do you remember Gillette? Do you remember Gillette?
Remember what?
Gillette.
You mean
from
the razor?
The best a man can get?
No. Gillette, don't want no short dick, man. Don't want no short dick, man. Don't want no eeny weeny teeny weeny little short
that.
Man. Yeah. It was a horrible, horrible song.
Yeah, that's a gross song.
Yep.
Is that a Randy Newman song? I don't want no short people around me with their short little dicks. Some people got short
Randy
little
Newman,
dicks.
what are you doing here?
When they poke me,
Why are you
I
talking
barely
about
feel
this?
a prick. Got tiny schlongs and tiny dongers too. What
Okay,
am I
we're gonna have to
supposed
ask you
to
to leave.
do? I don't
Randy,
want
get the hell out of here.
those.
You stay out of my house.
Goodbye.
You know what? Like, I think Mad TV was a 95% terrible program, but Will Sasso doing his Randy Newman impression was my favorite part of that show.
Will
Is
Sasso's
Will
impressions
Sasso
are really
the one
good.
Who would dress like a giant baby and go, no.
No, that's the guy who's in all the Paul Feig movies.
Will Sasso was the one who would be in my dreams giving me smooches.
Oh.
Will Sasso's impressions are really good, but he unfortunately doesn't do anything funny with them at all. He just kind of repeats things that those people would say. It's not very good.
He's also a local celebrity, so there's everyone I know who's in a local band talks about him showing up to their sets and then like smashing things and getting super drunk.
What?
Oh, is he a Canadian?
Yeah, he's a Vancouver boy.
That explains
Oh,
why
I
he
didn't know
sucks
that.
so
Like,
much.
I still do think if you want to see like one of the very, very, very few good bits of Mad TV, look up Will Sasso's Randy Newman impression because it's actually really funny.
You got
He plays him as like a drunk dude who's like slurring his words constantly. It's really funny.
You got
Nature, she played a trick, 'cause you got a tiny dick.
Jesus Christ.
Will Sasso does a good Randy Newman and a good Kenny Rogers, rest in peace. His Kenny Rogers does Jackass is pretty funny.
So, one of the reasons that a Scarlet needs to find a big, large, huge materia is that she wants to make it into a weapon. But she's like, but then I guess I have to give it to Heidegger, and Heidegger sucks. So she doesn't like Heidegger. They leave. They take that little Tonka
She
helicopter.
like sang.
And then if you search in this reactor in like the core, you find a materia. Jim, how do you rate this materia? It is Titan.
Titan
This is a 5 out of 5 for me.
Fall.
So Titan not only makes John horny,
Oh,
it is
Okay.
one of those summons that alters the battle landscape in a way that is consistently entertaining, and that he grabs a big chunk of the ground and kind of flips it over on top of the enemies. And it's pretty great, and it's fun to watch every time.
Yeah, it
5
is.
out of 5 cat
He looks
toys.
so strong. He's like lifting. He's wearing a
He's
little,
so strong.
little
Such a beefy
fundoshi.
boy.
He is the beefiest boy so far.
He is.
2 little inches in the pants of Evangeline.
Randy, get the hell out of here.
I'm calling the police.
So if you go west here from at the crossroads, you can go to Gongaga Village, which Matthew did not do. Although you can still
No,
go
I
back.
didn't realize you could go left here, so I just went and did all this stuff and got Titan and then bailed.
There's not anything super important here, but if you have Eris or Tifa in the party, you get a little cutscene because you go to this house. There's just these old people, like, oh, you look like you were from Soldier. Do you know anyone from Soldier named Zach? And Cloud's like, I don't know any Zach. They're like, oh, that's too bad. Our son Zach, he was a soldier first class. Cloud's like, hey, I was first class, and I don't remember any Zachs, and that's weird because there aren't too many of us. And if you go outside, Tifa's like, she sort of remembers a Zach, but then either doesn't want to talk about him or can't remember him. And she just gets really confused. Eris, meanwhile, if you talk about him, says like, oh yeah, I had a boyfriend named Zach. It wasn't like super serious or anything.
How does everybody know this Zach motherfucker?
And she's like, well, you see, he went off on this mission 5 years ago. Dun, dun, dun. And hasn't come back, but he was such a ladies' man. He probably found a new girlfriend or something, so you don't have to worry about it. So that is some Zach story.
The guy
Huh?
she says you don't have to worry about.
I
it?
get
I'm a
it.
cool
Zach
fucking soldier.
Story. That was funny, John.
We'll be getting more Zach story next time.
I got
I'm
it.
really excited to dig because, like, especially after watching a lot of I guess after watching specifically the Final Fantasy VII speedrun, they posited a different theory than I had ever heard of about Sephiroth and Genova and Zack and everybody. So I'm very curious to dig into this. I'm excited to see what the listeners think and how we kind of make it all come together.
Well, we've got to get through about 15 tons of side character backstory before we can get to the actual shit we want to see.
We have approximately at least 19 more episodes before we get into the... No.
Yeah, speaking of,
it's a
fucking
few.
Red 13.
Yep. Yeah. Speaking of,
Hope you enjoyed learning all about Barrett and his backstory. Because we're going to do it again, you see.
I guess you're taking your buggy west for some reason. And as
I don't
you do...
know. I don't know where we're going.
You go around Cosmo Canyon and suddenly the buggy breaks down.
The best music in this game. The Cosmo Canyon theme.
Play it for us, Jim. Yeah.
But it's got like the drum beats underneath the boom, 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 boom. So good.
That's what people loved about these PlayStation Final Fantasies is they could finally put music on CDs and not just bloops and blorps.
No, these are bloops and blorps.
So good.
This is
No,
no,
it's
it
high
is.
class.
This isn't CD tracks.
Orchestral.
This is bloops and blorps still, but it's good bloops and blorps because
It sounds like a flute though.
yeah, they have the PS1 has a pretty good sound chip, so it's a different way of sampling stuff. But a lot of people still think the music is a downgrade from Final Fantasy VI.
Interesting.
A lot of people are wrong. That fucking opera is no good. You should all be ashamed for being so happy about it.
I mean, the Cosmo Canyon theme is,
shit, now it's stuck in my
I think,
head.
like an iconic piece of music. I don't think it ever gets old. Oh, God. This is a part where all of our listeners fast forward aggressively.
So
Oh, shit. You know what? I guess that opera song is pretty good. Negativity rescinded. Jim, take us through this next part. Take us through it fucking fast.
All right, so Cosmo Canyon, you get there, and this is Red 13's hometown. So,
He has a
in case
real
you
name.
don't remember from episode 2, I think, Red 13 only agrees to come with your party as far as his home, which is Cosmo Canyon.
And we learned that his
this
name
is also-
Nanaki.
Well, you find that out in a second.
Oh.
You also find out that this is a place where Barrett always intended to bring Avalanche once their mission was over. Because this is the
That's
primo place on this planet to learn about planetary studies.
And who was it? Barrett was talking about this is someone who came from Cosmo Canyon and told him all about. It was an elder from Cosmo Canyon or something. That's why he formed Avalanche, because he learned all about like how the cycle of the life stream worked, and that.
Yeah, they reference this a couple times within Cosmo Canyon, the elders, but I don't know that you ever meet one.
They're all over the place.
Besides Bugenhagen, I guess.
Yeah, because
are all the old people here the elders? They all tell
But
you
who's
stuff.
old? Who are the old people here
There's
besides
like old guys
Bugenhagen?
walking around in robes. You have to go around and talk to a bunch of them at one point
do you?
to learn about the planet.
I just talked to Bugenhagen about it.
Hagen or Hagen?
Okay, Hagen. Let's say Hagen.
Bugenhagen.
Okay, I'm gonna say Hagen.
Can we say it like that? Bugenhagen.
You sure can.
Oh, the Bugenhagen.
Bugenhagen.
I guess we'll find out in 2026 how it's pronounced. When
I want to say Bugenhagen.
okay, you can.
I want to say
ahead.
Bugenhagen too.
Stop it, you. Are you drinking over there?
Bugenhagen.
Oh my god. Vanessa has got a wine glass the size of her head in her hand. Vanessa.
It's medicine.
She broke out Big Joe.
That's her medicine.
Wow. I'm having a mommy drink.
It's Mom o'clock. Mommy
Mom
needs
is
her
coming
sippy
out.
cup.
Mom is doing fine. Mom is.
You know what? You jest, but I could kill that song. I would be the best Rose this Broadway stage has ever seen, save for Patti LuPone. And
Do it.
Vanessa loves
We're all here.
theater.
You got
what's her name?
Theater loves her.
And the other one.
Ethel Merman.
And
Judy Garland.
Who's her name? No, it's not Barbara Streisand, but it's the one who's sort of
Liza
like Barbara
Minnelli?
Streisand. No, and she's like, "You are the wind beneath my wings."
Bette Midler?
Yes.
Boy, it took a long time to get to Bette Midler. That should be popping. That should be rolling right off the
You know
tongue.
who's better than Bette Midler?
Nobody.
Bette Bestler.
Oh, come on.
Boy.
Oh, come on, John.
Now, frame that whole question and then put a little screen cap next to it that says, "Did Sephiroth do this?"
Yeah. We should, you know what? We should do that with my blank track. I'll take a screenshot of my blank track and I'll say, "Did Sephiroth do this?"
That should
Does
be
the one that
cover
I
art.
posted on the group this morning that had WTF Jim and an arrow pointing at your blank track not count? Is that what I should have done?
That's great. Yeah, you should have done that. I'll do it.
It's funny you bring up Mad TV. I had a dream last night that I was seeing a filming of it. That's a true story.
What did you think of it?
Wow.
Really interesting
Was
about
it a
something
good
we talked about
episode?
10 minutes ago, Vanessa.
Shut up.
Got
I'm
her head
slow to
buried in fucking Animal Crossing.
Ugh, I'm making a custom kimono, okay?
Well, I mean, I can't blame you. It's really important stuff.
It is.
How
And
else are you
I
going
hadn't
to
thought about
part
that show
the
in
kimono?
years.
Well, Vanessa, we did talk about Mad TV when we did the Star Wars, what's that game we did? Star Wars
Knights of
Force,
the Old
whatever.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order, because the voice of the Jedi mentor was a Mad TV veteran.
That must be where it came from.
Oh, that's right.
Thank you, Jim. I can
You're
always
welcome.
count on Jim to identify my subconscious origins.
I can interpret your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Mad TV is the thing that Comedy Central would show a shitload of when they didn't want to show old SNL.
Mad TV was cool because I didn't have cable growing up, and I could turn my console TV, or a carpet denter, as they're known, to Fox and watch Mad TV on Saturdays.
Ooh.
Mad TV was cool because they were like, we don't care about racism.
We don't care about racism or good taste.
But, I mean, it
Or
was
good jokes, frankly.
compared to
That's
Saturday
true.
Live. It had like half the cast was people of color, and one of the producers was Quincy Jones. So it's like,
That's true.
You know, a lot of the writers were people of color. A lot of the cast was. It was definitely more diverse compared to Saturday Night Live.
I remember the latter seasons of Mad TV having a very young Andy Daly.
Ooh.
And I wish I could find this sketch. I've looked for it a couple times. He did one sketch that made me laugh so hard I thought I was going to die, and I can't find it for the life of me.
Hey, Vanessa.
If I find it, I'll post it, but it's so good.
Hey, Vanessa.
It's just him telling jokes at like sitting at a kitchen table,
Yes.
but he's riffing on something, and it's so fucking
I
funny.
mean, he's hilarious. Got 3
Yeah, he's
seasons
the
of
best.
Review is maybe one of the best television shows ever.
It's great.
Here she is,
Anyway.
boys. Here she is, world. Here's Vanessa.
Guys, this episode is fucking all over the
Wow.
place.
You
She's
got
really into
it.
this. She
We
stood up
talked
from the
about
table.
these
She's holding the microphone in her
And
hand.
boys, I got it.
You like it?
We talked about these
Do you
second
like
go-rounds
it?
being better. This is not better.
I disagree, actually.
Well,
this episode's
boys,
much
I
better.
got
Because we
it.
all actually know what we're talking about, so we're just fucking riffing on
Some
everything.
people got it and make it pay.
But I can't listen to
Diaphragm,
this
Vanessa.
anymore. So
You
Cosmo
should
Canyon.
diaphragm.
Even give it away. Well, this people's got it, and this people's spread it around.
It turns out that Red 13 has a real name, and I don't know why he didn't tell us when the whole name thing came up. It's a little weird and kind of insulting. Am I wrong?
How do you like
because
them
you
egg
just
rolls,
met
Mr.
him.
Goldstone?
And thank you, John.
Problem.
I think that he didn't trust people. You know, they had just put him in a cage and tried to experiment on him. So maybe he was just being a little guarded.
I mean, hang on. He didn't trust people? So you don't consider Red 13 people?
He doesn't. Yeah, I'd say humans, Vanessa.
No, it's fine. He's a conscious thinking being with a mother and a father who we're going to learn the backstory of, and a human grandfather, apparently. But sure,
is he?
Not people.
Jim.
Isn't that right?
Jim. Oh, God, Jim disappeared. We need
Vanessa.
Jim to try and figure out what the hell Bugenhagen is, because the model is like,
It's
it looks like
bee?
a weeble, a weeble floating around the screen.
I mean, it's just
With a
like
beard?
a pointed oval with a circle on top. It does not translate to anything in my mind that makes sense. I mean, I assume that he's like just like a human or like a humanoid old man who floats around with his cool telekinesis or whatever. He's like
I know
Professor
Jim
X.
has some like updated information on it, but Jim's gone. Jim's gone.
Well, then let's come back to that and talk about Nanaki.
Okay. So Nanaki have parents.
It bums me out that when you learn Nanaki's name, it does not give you the option to change Nanaki's name. Like, you can't be like, oh, your name is Nanaki. All right, I'll stop calling you Smokey.
Yeah.
Or even worse, if you're John, I'll stop calling you Red 13.
No,
the name that your kidnapping monsters gave you.
Digo, after the sexy dog man from Rogue Galaxy.
Honestly, you would think
Jim's
that
back.
when
Holy
you first
shit.
picked him up, you would think that when you first picked him up in Midgar and you're like, you know what? I'm going to call you Red 13. He'd be like, wait. No, my name's Nanaki. Don't call me the thing that was forcibly tattooed on me.
He's the only one I gave a different name to because I was like, well, I can't call you Red 13. That would be terrible.
There's one, I know one of the listeners on our Facebook group was like, yeah, the only character name I changed was Red 13 to Nanaki because that just seemed right.
Yeah, don't call him Red 13. That's actually, this is the first time I've ever considered this. That's super insensitive.
It is.
He was kidnapped and tattooed against his will and almost forced to mate with Eris.
Yes, Jim. I was forced to mate with Eris. They were like, let's do an experiment. Let's make this dog fuck this lady.
He's a cat, by the way.
But experiments like that have to get taken off Pornhub every day.
What the fuck, Final Fantasy VII? Anyway, John, you had a question for Jim.
Jim, what is Bugenhagen?
Yeah, what is Bugenhagen?
A big weeble?
He's like in my mind, he's an old man who has trouble walking, who's like sitting on, have you ever seen one of those like exercise balls that you balance on at the gym that have the like platform that fits around it?
So
he's like sitting Indian, or he's sitting crisscross applesauce on one of those.
Ball.
Yes, he's sitting on a Bosu ball with a little platform around it, sitting crisscross applesauce, and it just floats him around.
So this Bugenhagen, he goes upstairs, and then Nanaki's goes to talk to him, and you can kind of explore around. But if you follow him, you can go hang out with the Bugenhagen, and he starts telling you things about, like, first of all, the best thing he tells you is that Nanaki is a 48-year-old teenager, just like me.
Yep. Classic. He's what is he? He's a
man-child?
He's an elf. He's an elf.
Oh, okay.
His species has big longevity.
Why is his grandfather a big person, like a human?
Huge? Good question.
But he is a cat man.
Well, you know what happened with Eris?
No. I'm going to stop you there, John. So what else happens here? We walk around Cosmo Canyon, right? It's kind of a pain in the ass to navigate. Yeah. You have to go through like houses and shit to figure out where to go to get through. It's really
I think it's rendered really cool. Like it looks good. But it sucks to get around.
I think a lot of these towns and areas like this look pretty good. I like these pre-rendered backgrounds. They look good.
Yeah, me too. They did, like, I really like the look of Bugenhagen's observatory.
Yeah. I guess
like
we're playing the
really neat.
HD remastered version, so they've probably been cleaned up.
Yeah, I'm sure
they look, but I think the overall design is really cool. And this one's a little bit complicated to walk around just because, like, when you walk around the caves and stuff, it's really zoomed out and you don't get it's not super easy to tell what's a door and what's not a door.
Well, you can always hit
I think
that button.
that's
you can always
a big
hit select.
Yeah.
I think actually that's a big problem in this game is any environment that has a lot of verticality to it, like Cosmo Canyon does, it starts to like lose its luster a little bit.
Right.
When you have to go like up and down, so like this and Fort Condor and like a couple other places, really they're just not super interactive in the way that you want them to be.
Mm-hmm. There's a portion here that I thought was so cool that I literally like saved my game before it and then brought my friend over to show it to him. And I feel kind of embarrassed because it's so dorky now. It was dorky then. But yeah, my friend Travis, I made him come over to watch this whole scene because Bugenhagen's got this apparatus he wants to show you.
Ooh.
Yeah, he has like a planetarium in his attic.
Who doesn't?
I think he lives in an observatory, not that he has a planetarium in his attic.
No, he has like a it's almost like VR, like situation in his, like, I don't know, the upper part of his observatory.
That's a
An
planetarium.
observatory is a place where you can look through a telescope and see planets.
But a lot of observatories do have planetariums inside them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. There is the Griffin Observatory has a planetarium inside. The Griffith, sorry.
Where's the Griffith one at?
That's the one
What?
in the
Hang
Hollywood
on.
Hills.
Hold up. Where's the Griffith one at? Do you not remember when we went there in Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines? Do you not remember being chased around by a werewolf?
I remember
Do you
being
not
outside and the
remember-
werewolf getting hit by a fucking truck and being really confused.
Do you not remember when Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling magically danced around it?
I've
talking about
never
fucking
seen that
La La
movie, by the way.
Land?
Yeah, it's in La La
I've
Land.
never seen La La Land.
Blech.
I do remember in Vampire the Masquerade when you learn about the live stream, though.
Yeah. It's just like that. You learn about how to live stream.
Smash that like and subscribe.
So Bugenhagen's like, dude, here's how to live stream. First of all, you got to get OBS because it's just the easiest one. It's open source. It's free.
Twitch.tv/Bugenhagen.
Let me tell you all the facts and deets about the live stream.
The
I'm
number one
gonna
thing,
speed run the live
the
stream.
number one thing about live streaming is that you want to sneak your hate speech in. Don't say it outright.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Now we're going
there's-
to talk about Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg? Is that the hidden version? Or is that the Toontown version of Greta Grunberg or whatever her name is?
I heard that in a live stream the other day. That's why I say that.
Oh God.
They made a Greta Thunberg joke.
So he asks you and a friend to join Nanaki, and I think, or doesn't Barrett show up for this? I feel like, or maybe I brought Barrett with me.
It's only your party members, I think.
Yeah.
Because I had Yuffie and Barrett.
And you get a nice view of how the live stream works, not the live stream. And it reminds me a bit of the opening of Hedwig and the Angry Inch, where they explain where love comes from.
Oh, nice.
And it's a really sweet part, but it's sort of animated in a similar way. Like, so it shows this dumb person doing jumping jacks, and they're all made of yellow glitter, and then they die, and the yellow glitter dissolves into the stream, and then like it shows lots of people living and dying and joining the stream, and the trees and the plants and the animals die and join the stream.
Oh yeah, this is the thing that needed Mr. DNA from Jurassic Park to really like sell it, and they come close here.
It did. It needed a Mr. Livestream.
I'm Mr. Livestream.
Here here's the solar system. Look, there's a black hole eating stuff. And watch out for that meteor.
Look at how all the juice is getting sucked out of your planet. You're all gonna die.
I'd be really curious about this because, like, I think it's depending on what order you have your characters in your party. When this scene starts, it'll zoom in on one of your characters, and the camera will kind of rotate around as all of these celestial things happen around your character. So, like, meteor, black hole. I'd be curious. Like, I assume it's dependent on the order you have your party characters in, but I don't know.
It's always Barrett for me. I think every time I view this cutscene, it's Barrett.
So, like, in my last playthrough, I had Yuffie in my party. It was Yuffie.
Okay. And it's really interesting. You learn, well, if I say that, it's so much like in our bonus episode, The Spirit Within, you have the Dr. Sid describe exactly the same thing. Eventually all humans die, the body returns to the planet, but the soul does too, and the soul is part of the life stream, which is the path of souls, and children are born from this spirit energy. And unfortunately, like, Shinra and the Mako reactors are drawing it out. And what happens if you take all of the planet energy out of the life stream, Jim?
The planet dries up and cracks and falls down, even though there's no gravity in space.
Well, yeah, but you know how things fall down, though, Jim. Come on. You gotta bring on your big science word into it, like gravity.
It, like, falls to the floor, even though in space there's no gravity.
Well, and no one to hear you scream.
It would go towards the sun. Probably.
That's true. It would get sucked into that black hole they showed a minute ago.
Yeah, that too.
The black hole
Spirit
sun?
Yeah, won't you come?
Won't you come?
And wash away the rain.
Wash me away. Wash away the rain.
Mm-hmm. So spirit energy is the source of life for everything and forms planets. And yeah, if it disappears, the planet disappears. And that's
I'd like to see some scientific evidence for this that isn't just like a weird animation that somebody hacked together.
Well, I mean, you do know that they're harnessing the spirit energy. That's what Mako is. Or Mako,
it's just gas.
It's just fracking?
Calling it fucking spirit energy doesn't change that it's just fucking gasoline. It's oil.
So after
we know that they don't do oil anymore, don't we?
After the live stream, everyone kind of goes downstairs and has a bonfire, which is, I think, maybe my favorite part of the game so far, because everyone's got like a different thing they're thinking about. It's a lot like one of Jim's favorite moments from what's that game called? Chrono Cross. No, Chrono Trigger.
Definitely not Chrono Cross.
But yeah, it's very similar to the bonfire scene in Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, and I said this on the first iteration of this episode, but these are like I call them like catch-up moments where the story kind of pauses and all of your characters will gather around in one place and you can kind of check in with all of them at one time. Mm-hmm. These are, like, I think probably my favorite parts of these RPGs, because you can kind of get the temperature of everybody at the same time and really understand how they're reacting to all the plot developments.
Right.
And a lot of times you don't get that unless you have people in your party when these things happen.
You know, I never thought about it. You know, the opening cutscene for Final Fantasy X is another one of these.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. And like, I was thinking about this when I watched the speedrun the other day, is like that whole framing narrative for Final Fantasy X actually does a good job of like really setting things up for how everybody's reacting to all the plot development.
That game is so fucking good. Can we get a hashtag?
That game is amazing.
It is. Can we get a hashtag remake Final Fantasy X?
Why? It's good as it is. It doesn't need a remake. I don't want it.
I like it when things look fancier.
Kingdom Hearts. I don't like Kingdom Hearts combat. I don't want it in my games.
I do. I don't think it's Kingdom Hearts combat, but I do. No, he's talking about if they remade it. He's talking about the Final Fantasy VII remake that he didn't play.
It's just going to be, it's not going to have Sakaguchi anymore. So it'll be like, oh, and now there's an organization of sin and like they're going to wear cool outfits and all look the same and it's going to be so rad.
There are already so many belts and unnecessary pant legs in Final Fantasy X.
I don't know if everybody else knew this, but John actually gets paid per parade he reigns on.
I'm paid by Sakaguchi under the table.
Like, I like Final Fantasy X. It has the most rewarding, like, if you decide to, like, grind your levels in that game, it's the most rewarding instance of grinding, I think, in all the Final Fantasies that we've played so far.
I hit everyone with my blitz ball.
Hell yeah, Blitzball is so fun.
You dodge like 300 lightnings.
Yeah.
You're a pro.
That game's great.
It is great.
So here's some of the things that you learn at the bonfire. Tifa almost tells you what happened 5 years ago. She's like, so about 5 years ago, you know what? Never mind.
So Tifa's also really confused. And like,
The fuck is she confused about? You know what? I don't know.
So she gives Cloud the benefit of the doubt when he says he was at Midgar, but the thing is, she does not remember him being at Midgar.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, Nibelheim.
Nibelheim, yeah.
So she gives him the benefit of the doubt when he says he was there at Nibelheim, but she does not remember him being there.
Mm-hmm.
Does she remember Zack being there?
Well,
that's the
we'll
thing,
get to
is
it
she-
there.
Yeah,
We'll get to it
that's
then.
a spoiler alert. But like, she does not. So Cloud remembers himself being there very vividly, as you learn in the Calm flashback. But Tifa like does not remember him being there at all.
And she does ask, "You really are you, right?" Which is a
Yeah. So like, it's like to a point, she's playing along with what he says.
yeah, but she has doubts.
Yeah, she definitely has doubts.
And that is what TV tropes would call an armor-piercing question. Or like a plot question. I really, it's an interesting one to put at this point.
Yeah.
Barrett is sort of reminiscing about how he said after Avalanche destroyed Shinra, they were all going to come here. Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge and him. But they're all dead. He's the only one who's here, and he hasn't destroyed Shinra. So he's feeling a little blue about that.
Dabba-doo, dabba-dee.
Eris has been taking time to talk Abadie. Eris has been taking time to talk to the elders of Cosmo Canyon, and she's real bummed that she really is the only Cetra left. Except isn't Sephiroth also a Cetra? Huh.
Maybe we'll find out later episodes.
Red 13 is, Nanaki is real mad at his dad for being a coward. He talks about how there was this other tribe named the Gi tribe, and they were attacking, and his mom basically had to fight them all off on his own. Meanwhile, his dad ran away and never came back. He went off to get desert cigarettes, puppy cigarettes, cat cigarettes, and never came back.
He went out for catnip and never came back.
Exactly. So after sort of hearing about this, Bugenhagen's like, hey Nanaki, come up to this cave. You know the cave the secret cave of secrets? Why don't we open that up? And I gotta show you some stuff. And why don't one of your friends or two of your friends come along? So he gives you a tour of the sealed cave that maybe has the highest enemy encounter ratio.
Encounter rate, yeah. So Matt and I mentioned earlier, we've been watching speedruns. The Final Fantasy VII speedrun, this is one of the most gratifying areas of it, because there's a portion of this cave system where you have to walk through these spider webs and fight these big, really hard to kill daddy long-leg enemies.
So leave a message and we'll call you back.
A likely story.
There's a way to like glitch through these. And when the speedrunner does it, it is so like everybody applauds, and it's so great.
But they would only have to go through, I think, 2 to get to the final boss, right? You don't have to go.
You can get to go through 1, I think.
Ooh. Okay.
But it's pretty great, and like it's those kind of things when it comes to speedrunning that are really gratifying. So check it out.
So as you go through this tour of the sealed cave, Bugenhagen is telling you all about all about this battle, the battle against the Gi tribe, and he's like, so. You'll notice this is right up against the back door of Cosmo Canyon. There's only one path through here. And you know the Gi tribe never made it to the city, and here's why. Because there was a brave warrior, and the brave warrior was fighting in these narrow tombs. Okay, here's another fight. Okay, sorry, there's another random encounter. Anyway, the brave warrior was another fight, fighting through these narrow walkways and was pushing them back and holding them from getting it. Okay, another fight, through the city. And oh, look, it's some kind of strange ceremonial ghost wall. That's weird. And then the face is a demon face and like turns, and this Gi, it's called like a Gi warrior or something, comes out to attack you.
This game love a demon wall. Final Fantasy games love a demon wall.
It's true.
The
haunted
wall
wall
later in the game that you're talking about that party wiped you is one of the worst boss fights in this game.
I got through it the second time. I just needed to rearrange where my people were.
Well, there's their demon face wall here, but then a ghost pop out. And this ghost, it took me a couple of tries, but I just kept throwing Phoenix Downs at it until it just died in one hit.
So if you give him an elixir, it will cast death and kill it first try.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I knew
Phoenix
that, but I didn't have
Down
any
is one
elixirs
thing,
left.
but an elixir, give it an elixir and it will kill it.
Yeah, there's only a 25% chance that the Phoenix Down will work.
Yeah, I
think
used
elixir
4
is 100.
and none of them, and it didn't take, and I finally was like, you know what, fuck it, and I just decided to kill it.
I think elixir is a 100% chance of
Yeah, I
killing
heard
it
that.
first round.
Mm-hmm. So Bugenhagen's like, oh wow, you and Cloud are just. Bugenhagen says Nanaki, you and Cloud sure are strong. I'm so glad that I'm showing this little passage to you. Strong boys. Oh, by the way, that warrior I was talking about, that was your dad. His name is Seto, and if you look up right now, there he is, turned to stone with arrows coming out of his body. He stayed there fighting off the stone infection, fighting off all the warriors, making sure not a single one of them got to the Gi tribe. And you come in here with that attitude about your father. Well, I tell you, young man, he was a warrior. And look, you're making him cry materia drops.
It's really fucked up how they did not tell this child that his father had died heroically protecting the village, instead of just vanishing. Like, nobody ever explained to the kid what happened?
It's really interesting because Bugenhagen seems very surprised at the fact that Nanaki thinks that his father was a coward. That's like the whole impetus for you getting in this cave system is because he says that and he's like, oh, that's really what you think? And he's like, let me show you otherwise.
I know that there's a point here somewhere where he also asks, like, did your mother never tell you about this? And Red 13's like, nah. And he's like, well, we did say we'd never speak of it again. And I just want to point out again, that's really fucked.
Yeah, it's not great. So you get a really nice little cutscene of looking up, and the music's like a remix of the Cosmo Canyon theme. It's really beautiful. It's a nice little scene.
It is. I mean, as far as these character side stories go, this is definitely the one that hits the hardest.
Mm-hmm. And Bugenhagen does say, like, hey, you know, you never know if the world's going to end this year or it's going to end in 100 years, but we got to try. So Red 13, you're going to join Cloud to fight this Sephiroth.
He also
I love that.
He also says the planet's definitely going to die.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, like, I love, though, like, he's like, it's going to die, it's going to happen. But if there's even the smallest of chances that we could affect the outcome, we should try to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you should always try.
Mm-hmm.
I love that about this game.
So, he tells Red 13 / Nanaki to go on, without them. And Nanaki's, well, what about you? And he's like, well, I'm going to die eventually, but, you know, that's okay. And by the way, Red 13's super proud of his father. He's like, I'm proud of my father.
Nanaki.
My father, Nanaki is real proud of his father. I am Nanaki, son of Seto. Seto saved Cosmo Canyon. He's a great warrior. And that's when Seto cries, what a baby.
Ooh, we should all howl.
Ooh,
Can we howl?
Okay.
That's what he does in the game.
And, hey.
Y'all, that felt good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's very cathartic.
Yeah, we need some time of community these days.
That's why so many people are into puppy play. There's a lot of howling involved.
Oh, no.
So, where are we playing to next time, Jim?
So next time we are playing through the end of the Temple of the Ancients.
Oh, no.
So, John, I think in your screen cap you posted, that does not happen at the end of the Temple of the Ancients.
It doesn't?
That happens at the end of the ancient city.
Is that not the same thing?
Not the same thing.
Oh.
So the end of the Temple of the Ancients is when person X decides to betray your party.
Wow. Okay. Well, then I'm mixing up those two events.
I didn't realize that until I was looking at your screen cap right there. But you know what? Should we play through there?
No. Let's do. It's quite a big chunker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next time we will play through the end of the Temple of the Ancients, where you find out who the mole is in your party.
Ooh. So, Chocobo Racing, huh?
Yeah, this is okay as far as mini games go.
I like the environment a lot. I think it's really fun because like it starts off in like this green area and there's like a candy land and then there's like this super weird trippy area and then there's like the space. You go to outer space and there's like satellites and stuff around you. I think that's pretty great. So the controls, you can either do auto, which pretty much plays itself and you tell it to like slow down or speed up, or you can do manual so you can avoid the other ones. And there's like a built-in cheat thing where if you hold R1 and R2, you start like regaining stamina, which I believe was in the PS1 version of the game to make it a bit easier.
Yeah.
And so this is a mini game that you can do a lot after this. If you want to breed a gold chocobo, you gotta do a lot of racing for some reason. Is there a reason why you need to do so much racing?
You got to get through it to get out of the camp.
Ah. Well, no, I mean, like,
why do the golden chocobo?
Yeah. Why?
Oh. If you want the best materials in the game, you get the golden chocobos.
Ah, okay. And you have to do racing to, I guess, improve their stats or something? So.
You do. You have to do the racing to improve their stats. And then, so you have to improve a male and female stat so you can breed them to eventually produce a better chocobo that you can then breed even more. So it's a real process.
Vanessa.
It takes a lot of commitment.
Is Mama doing fine?
She's doing so fine.
Mama. I think you were in an ideal condition to tell us about the Mog game. Tell us about the Mog minigame.
Mog Me Mogster is a game in Wonder Square. You go to the Mog Me Mogster machine, and there's a guy there, and he's like, I want to watch you play this game. So you fire up the game, and it's beautiful. It's very sweet and charming. It's sort of like the Winnie the Pooh in Kingdom Hearts. So
what?
You're at the Winnie the Pooh, and there's a tree and a house in it, and the door open, and here come the Mog. And the Mog wants to fly, but is too weak. So narrator says, must feed Mog nuts, but if you feed Moggin too nut, Moggin too fat to fly. So you feed Moggin nut, and nut come down from sky, and Moggin nom 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 nom, and then he's like ding, and another nut nom 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 nom, ding, and another nut nom 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 nom. Ding! And you feed him until he is full. You can tell that he's full by him patting belly. So then you're like, okay, time for Mog to fly. And Mog climbs up the tree. It's like very suspenseful. Is he gonna do it? Is he gonna fall down? Drum roll. Moggin jumping. Moggin fly. Part 2.
Okay.
Here come Lady Mog. Lady Mog is like, I want a boyfriend, but I'm not going to date someone who can't fly. And Morgan's like, I guess it's time for me to impress this lady, but I used up all my energy flying first time. So here come the nut. Here come the nut.
Looking for a Mog
Here
to
come the
save
nut.
me. Looking for a Mog to fly. Gonna make my way back home for Mogs to fly.
It's time for Morgan to try to fly and impress this lady. He goes up the tree, and it's very suspenseful. Drum roll. Morgan jump. Morgan fly. Lady sees Morgan fly, and she goes into his house. And
then they
so
have
also
sex.
goes the Moggo. Then they have the sex. So
It's very graphic.
So then you get the graphic Mog sex scene, and afterwards, open up the door.
Your explainer is taking longer than it takes to play the game.
Here come the Mog. Here come the Lady Mog. Here come Baby Mog 1, Baby Mog 2, and Baby Mog 3. They have babies. Then the game is over. You get no prize for playing this game. But if you talk to the guy who was watching you, he goes, oh, so that's how you do it. And he gives you 30 special saucer points. The end.
We'll have to at some point post the sober version of that explanation, which we do have saved somewhere.
I don't see why you would need to do that.
I probably don't need it.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so before we go, we forgot this last time. What are you roundly for or squarely against this chunker?
Oh.
Did we really
I'll go
forget
first.
it? Wow.
Yeah, we did.
So I am, I guess, like 90% squarely against all the games in the Golden Saucer. They are all the worst mini games this game has, and even the ones that aren't like story relevant mini games, like the arm wrestling one or the Moogle one, they take so much time. Like it sucks. So when you can get to a point where you can actually buy GP from the derelict who's hanging out by the tram, do that, because these games suck. Vanessa, what are you squarely against?
I'm roundly for the Golden Saucer.
Whoa.
I love it. It's so much fun. You get to get a cat riding a teddy bear. You get to play Mogami Mogster. You get to race a Chocobo. You can ride the thing. Haunted Hotel. So many good things. Very fun. Every RPG should have an amusement park portion.
I think 10-2 does. Or at least has a part where you dress up as a Moogle and give out balloons.
Spoiler alert.
I want to play it so
Spoiler
badly.
alert. I'm not there yet.
Let me play it. Oh.
Matthew,
Google Soup.
Yes.
what are you roundly for or squarely against?
Everything that's happened for the last 10 minutes. I am. You know what? I'm just going to jump on the train. I'm roundly squarely against I am squarely against the Golden Saucer. That whole place is a fucking shit show. It's like junk on a screen. I don't know what's happening. And all the games are trash. What about you, whoever's next? Jim? Maybe?
All right, I am roundly for da 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 da.
Not a perfect person.
Not a perfect person after all.
They got tiny little peckers and tiny little balls, and when they slip inside you can't feel them at all.
All right.
I don't
well,
want
no emails because we're still
short
recording a
dickers.
super
I
special
don't
email
want no
episode that will be
short
out at some point.
dickers. I don't want no
This month.
short dickers
That's
around
right.
me.
We do have a very special mailbag app coming out later. TBD, but definitely soon.
Maybe pushed back because of a particular snafu. What happened again? I don't remember. Let's not talk about it.
You know what? Let's just say coronavirus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, delayed because of the coronavirus.
Yep.
But Patreon, $3 a month, gets you all our bonus episodes like Man of Medan, and $5 a month gets you to vote like on our vote. Also, if you do the Patreon, if you give us $1 or more, a month, we will read your name at the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
Jim.
Like so.
Like so, Jim.
Andrew Leinart. Tifa, queen of starting cryptic conversations, then dismissing them. Anthony Cruz. Lex Averial. You got my big stuck in your wedge. Squall would beat Cloud in a fight. Eric Garb. Brian Pitt. Sexy Grandma's boy toy is. Good. Let the hate flow through you. Andrew O. Citrus C. Robert M. Pollum. Sean Gonzalez and Johnny Totally Did. Resty Kamada, Paul Bursch, Andy Best, Patrick W. Bears, Dr. Steve Stone, Hexagon, Army Hammers, Crotch Hammer, Matthew Casterline, Nathan Poirot, MB, Joshua Bennett, PJ Ends, Sean Walsh, David Shook, Isaac Wright, Brady A. Berman, and Chris Ryan.
We'd also like to thank Samu Mitchell, Hudson Roth, Vanessa's mom, Ari Corpovara, Tavis Nickerson, Robert J. Defendi, Alexander Jokic, Justin Rash, Stu Skeel, Nofford. Support Colin Kaepernick. Don't watch the NFL. Don't mind if I don't have a choice. Cake Ninja, Robert T., Chris Penyak, Armin Hammer, The Phantom Scofflaws of the Opera, Miguel Torres, Adam Zimmerman, Stephen Kroc, Andy M., Ryan Miller, Cyril the Wolf, Sling Thing Ping Ringy Dingy, Cameron Shoei, Tracy Tanoff, Gregory, Jared Collins, T. Bumpkins, Race Jenkins, Joseph. Fine, say everyone's name, at least it annoys Matt. It's true. And I am a materia girl. The best Final Fantasy VII game is Guys.
No, it's not.
James Hostetler and Wash in the Wind. Vanessa?
Hi, I'm Vanessa, and I'm not drunk. I've just been pretending for comedic effect. I want to give a special message to our listeners. Listeners, size actually doesn't matter if you're willing to put in the effort to compensate in other ways. Make sure that you're tuned into the needs of your partner, and if you want to, use tools or aids in the bedroom. It doesn't make you less of a man, it just makes you a caring individual.
Oh boy, did Sephiroth do this?
Kiva Cowman, Mosser, Matthew Newland, Huxley Iguana, Bree Girth, George Brady, Metal Gear Solid 1 in 2021, Cloudy with a Chance of Meteor, Cubic Zirconia Weapon, Christian Go, Stephen Paget, Matt Jorgensen, Amanda Douglas, Jameson, Tyler Petty, Mary, Queen of Scoffs, Aaron Bachman, David Green, Vanessa's fourth mom, Reddit is Harold Lauder, Jake Dickerson, Mr. Mallard, Psyduck Morley. Okay, everyone take off your earphones except for Aaron. Aaron, I know this is you. I know why you're doing it. It's a plan to bedevil and bother me, and as much as I appreciate your friendship and your patronage of our show, there is no way that I am going to say Psyduck more like you know what again. So just forget about it, pal.
Psyduck, more like Psysuck.
Oh, you said it.
More like sci-fuck.
Whoa.
Benjamin Avner and Galendo.
Quack, quack.
Dobby Smokey Barrett Tone Douglas, Megan Sullivan, Floria Jonas Kramer, Ward Childress, Ryzen Hopper, Devin Sloan, Jonathan Ellsworth, G. Bailey, The Mighty Monarch, Andy Smith, Barrett was Ron's Bear Awakening, What is Yours? As I said last time, the 2 Golden Axe Bears. Always Eris, Grey Code, Mike Bloomberg as Shinra, Captain Beef Swellington of the Taco Armada, Ross Hartley, the best Bobby Midkiff I can be, Jonathan Smith, that one guy, K. Gigi Loth, Tom, Randy Pierce, Gage La Charité, Michael Crawford, Andres Rivera, Wonder Swan, Justin Ham, Captain Awesome, and DJ Ethro.
All right, everybody, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you'd like to say something about the game we talked about, you can find us at squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast for Square Roots Podcast group for smart, cool, very attractive people. Or you can tweet at us. We are at Square Roots Pod.
So you better squeak those emails out this week if you got something to say, gang, because we are recording it soon.
We got a big bad mail bad app coming out.
Mail bad app.
Mail bad.
Big bag mail bad.
Bill bad mail bag.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And thanks to Tetrimino for letting us use their really amazing cover of JENOVA and Birth of a God. You can support Tetrimino on Patreon or check out their YouTube at Tetrimino VG Band.
All right, everybody, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. For next episode, we are playing through the end of the Temple of the Ancients. So tune in next time for Square Roots. I am Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
I'm Johnny Brandon.
And I'm Vanessa.
Bye.
Mom is talking loud. Mom is doing fine. Mom is getting hot. Mom is going strong. Mom is moving on. Mom is all alone. Mama doesn't care. Mama Mama's got the stuff. Mama's letting go.
Hey, Jim, do you think Sephiroth did this?
Doesn't move that motion. Don't want no show dog does. I don't want no show dog does. I don't want no show dog does for me. Bum, 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 bum.